Hey there. I'm kind of testing out something, so kind of doing an impromptu live video. Also, I'm actually have YouTube going at the same time now, so I'm hoping to be able to get all this to work out the right way. Um, I'm doing this mainly so that have this set up to where if people want to share the live or share some of these videos, I'm hoping to be able to get this to be able to post on the Facebook, and that way they're recorded simultaneously, and people can be able to have access to the YouTube channel that is actually associated with the group also, and um, be able to get the message and be able to share it with other people and on their profile page itself on Facebook, and hopefully that way it'll be able to have a better aspect for everybody. Um, Still trying to learn how to do all this as far as the cameras and everything, because I actually have, besides my phone going, I have my tablet also going right now. So hopefully all this will work out the right way. But like I said, this is just kind of an impromptu live video, and like I said, I'm hoping this will all work out the right way to be able to have it posted onto YouTube also. In case you don't know, that there is a YouTube channel associated with the Prodigals Perspective group on Facebook. It's also, the YouTube channel is also called the Prodigals Perspective. I have some videos posted there. I have some shared videos or a video library from other videos with dealing with marriage and just different things. So if you get the want, or want to look at it, please, you're more than welcome to go over to the YouTube channel also. Like I said, the YouTube channel is also called The Prodigals Perspective. So you're more than welcome to go over there and take a look at the videos there. I kind of wanted to go ahead and do this too tonight for just another reason. Talking with my wife and with Jay Lynn, the other two admins of the group, looking at different posts. We never want to discourage people from posting. There has been some questions about some of the posts. I can understand that to a degree, yet I never ever want people to not post something. It is this group. In fact, the question was asked in a post, and I talked to the person who posted this, who submitted the post. I actually talked to this person kind of in depth, and they apologized for their very their boldness and being so blunt about what they said. But I understand, and so do other people. Hi Kim, hi Jacqueline, hi Sheila and JC, and there's a few other ones I didn't get to see yet, but thinking about it, trying to not say a whole lot of the names. Just because, like I said, this is also going to be on YouTube, so hopefully. But anyway, the one thing about what this group is meant for, I want to say that this group is meant for encouragement. It's meant to help to some degree with questions, to only give probable answers. And those answers only come from my experience, the things that I have seen and dealt with over the years, the things that God has enlightened me, I guess you could say, or given me the insight to. But also this group is for people who want to post things that are concerning them. The other day we had a post that specifically said not marriage related. And I do allow those posts simply because those posts mean that these people have a concern about something. And they're admitting that this doesn't have anything to do necessarily with marriage restoration, but it's a concern. And those concerns are legitimate. And their posts should be legitimate. And so I more than welcome a lot of those posts. If myself or one of the other admins, Sabrina or Jaylyn, think that it might be controversial, then discussion is made between us about the post before it is always submitted or approved and posted. But I welcome posts. And this one post happened to talk about another person that apparently this person worked at a company and apparently was actually not only contemplating but talking about committing suicide, unfortunately. And unfortunately, the person who, one of the people that this person worked with, apparently made a very derogatory statement and said, well, whatever you do, just don't do it here, because I don't need to be a part of a big bloodbath. I think is how it's said. Or something to the effect of, don't do that here so that I'm not a part of it, or that I'm not involved with it, or that might not be happening. Don't do this so that you're taking out a whole bunch of other people. And their question was about salvation concerning suicide. And yeah, that's a touchy subject. However, I was glad to have that post there because it gave me the opportunity, and my wife knows this, but I have struggled. Right. Thank you, honey. She didn't want blood on her clothes. But I have struggled in the past with the contemplation of suicide. I've even harmed myself in the past. And so that's a very important subject to me. And I want to tell you that, and I'm not going to name names of anybody, but unfortunately one person within the group actually made the statement, well, it's a good thing that person said that to them, because at least maybe that avoided that person thinking about committing suicide. It kept them from coming into their job and killing a bunch of other people. I will not condone heartless, insensitive comments. That was not a good comment for anybody to make. It doesn't matter why a person who says that and makes those statements is looking actually for help. If they make those statements in such a sincere way, they're looking for help. They're not just crying for attention, they're looking for actual help. And that person that worked with them completely and totally disrespected, degraded, and belittled them. And unfortunately, that person did commit suicide, that the post actually said. But for a member of the group to make the statement, well, it's a good thing that they said that, because at least maybe it kept them from going in and causing a massacre. No, that is not a comment that will ever be tolerated. But then also, somebody else posted a comment onto this post, and I ended up talking to the person privately that said, why is this post in here? It really doesn't have anything to do with marriage or marriage restoration, and so why is it in here? I don't see the point of it. That is an underlying concern with many people. Just the fact of eternal salvation and the subject of suicide. I appreciated that because it gave me the opportunity to speak about this in a comment. And so, if there's a post in there, in this group, please believe me, if it's in there and it's remaining in there and it's having comments and we're allowing the comments and we're allowing the discussion on this post, it's because we see a reason for that post to be there. If we don't see, if somebody else doesn't see the reasoning behind this post, please message one of us. As I told the person that made that last comment, I said, please message me next time with this question, because unfortunately your comment, I understand why you're asking, but unfortunately your comment looks insensitive. It looks like, you're saying, why bother us with this? Suicide, especially with prodigals, I can tell you, is a big concern. And it makes people worry about their eternal salvation. I know that. But please know that we are not going to allow insensitive or just completely degrading, really, comments, especially if it's a concern. Exactly. Yes, reaching out for support and reaching out for some answers. And maybe that person who originally posted that is actually concerned about their spouse because their spouse is dealing with depression and the thoughts of suicide. And they're concerned about it. And so that's one reason why I was glad the post was there. But also, it's... I just want to tell you that this group is for concerns people might have. This group is for people to post things that will give them the opportunity to ask questions or post things that they truly want to know something about. You're right, it is very marriage related, and thank you. And so, but just know that we do everything we can to try to maintain a good balance with the posts in this group. I don't always like to have a lot of negative stuff. I try to do our best. I do. I know my wife does. Jaylyn does. Try to do our best to not necessarily always have a huge amount of negative stuff. There are times if we see that really it's best to have this person to say, they're really needing a lot of prayer and encouragement, then we'll use that person and their name and post ourselves truly what this person is looking for. Not because we don't want that person to post, but because sometimes what they may say in regards to how they are feeling at that moment will cause people to start saying things that maybe they might feel judged or they might feel, they might be hurt through. And so we rather try to make an encouragement out of things and a good, joyful, gentle, patient type encouragement. But two, it just, I know unfortunately there's times that some posts are just, they're going to be hard because of what people are dealing with. It's going to be tough. I've said this many times. I can't imagine what all my wife went through with everything. But I know that she had God supporting her for 7/8 of that time. Then she ended up finding the standing community, and that has helped a lot. But know that that being a part of this ministry for the last 3 years now has really opened my eyes to a lot of things that can try to help. But unfortunately, too, I have to say at times I don't know. I can't tell you. I can't give you an answer for something. Simply because it's something that God's going to have to answer on His own. And getting to start learning how to be in pastoral ministry or just ministry in general. There's many times that we have to say that. I look at even the movie Courageous. I know a lot of you know what that movie is. It's the Kendrick brothers through the Sherwood Baptist Church in Georgia. And in this movie Courageous, that talks about men's ministry and men becoming who they're supposed to be with God and in God. Alex Kendrick, who plays one of the main characters, loses a daughter in the movie. And he goes to his pastor and he says, why? Why would God do this? And how am I supposed to get past it? And that pastor has to say one of the hardest things a pastor ever has to say to somebody. I don't know. I believe that. I believe that there is limited ministries. I believe there's limited ministries in a lot of places, men's ministries in a lot of places, and that's really kind of sad too for Australia, because I know that's a very Christian continent. But those, that's a hard thing to have to tell somebody, is I don't know why. And I'm not exactly sure at this point how. But sometimes we have to say that. Anyway, I'm glad all of you have joined. Hello, and I'm glad that you got in. I'm trying to keep from saying a lot of names because, like I said, this is also going on YouTube, so I'm not trying to say a whole lot of the names so that the names aren't revealed in the YouTube video. So please just know that's the only reason I'm not saying names right now. But just know that that we don't ignore specifically posts. We try to put the right ones in to an extent. We try to make sure that there's something that's going to help, or it's going to be something that truly is a really needed subject to kind of discuss, or a concern that really gives, or is a need to have talked about and discussed. And so it's, we're not just particularly leaving things out or anything. It's nothing like that. And I try to be sparing at times with the posts that are submitted, because I don't want to clog the news feed too much. Unfortunately, Facebook came up with their own little algorithm, and so even posts from groups and with certain people that you might be friends with and stuff don't always get seen the way that they should. And it might be hours before they get seen sometimes, which is really aggravating, I know, believe me. And so just know that we're trying to do our best Um, and especially with the language and such. Unfortunately, we ended up having that come up as a subject also because I made a comment, or I made a post saying that there was not to be any foul language in the group. There was not to be any, um, any curse words. And again, I'm not going to say anybody's name, but unfortunately it got brought to me, well, that they're just trying to censor people. You're just trying to censor what they say. And unfortunately, this person did not realize Ephesians 4:29. And, but let me read that real fast for you, just so I can kind of help explain what I'm talking about. Ephesians 4:29 says, "Let no unwholesome word proceed from your mouth, but only such a word as is good for edification, according to the need of the moment, so that it will give grace to those who hear." And whenever I presented that verse to the person, unfortunately they didn't recognize that verse. In fact, their words to me were, well, I don't see anywhere in the Bible that says that we're not supposed to be able to cuss. And I said, well, right there, Ephesians 4:29, when I quoted that to them, they didn't recognize that verse. And so I plan on trying to start doing some more posts regarding a lot of different things, especially towards men. I really feel a desire to get a lot stronger towards men, simply because so many men have not ever been led into the instructions that God expects of men. In fact, quite a while back in one of the other groups, I saw one guy actually make the statement, well, if God doesn't restore my marriage in 2 years, I'm quitting. I'm just walking away. I'm done. I'll give it 2 years, and then I'm finished. Because I know God doesn't want me to have to keep dealing with this and putting out this kind of energy. My statement to him was, I said, first, you can't limit God. But second, if you don't realize exactly how much God expects of you, then you need to go back to the basics of figuring out what a man of God is supposed to be. Because God expects a huge amount out of men. 1 Corinthians 11:3 says, get over here to it, make sure I read it the right way. I always want to make sure. "But I want you to understand that Christ is the head of every man, and the man is the head of a woman, and God is the head of Christ." The man is head of the woman. Not to mean that he's the Lord, or he's to dominate. As it says in Ephesians 5, it says in Colossians, I believe it is 3, where a woman is to submit to her husband, not meaning, and I know I've said this a lot of times too, not meaning that the man gets to lord over her, but to willingly cooperate. Yes, God expects obedience, but God also expects a lot more out of a man besides just obedience. He expects a farther extreme of obedience out of men. And we actually see that with Adam. Going all the way back to Adam with that. Simply because when God approached after the fall, after they had sinned, God called Adam. He said, "Where are you?" He didn't say Adam and Eve. He said, Adam, where are you? And when Adam came out of hiding, he said, well, we were hiding because of, we were naked. And, well, who told you were naked? And what did man do? He immediately blamed the wife. Well, that's the first downfall of a man, is not taking the full accountability. Because the woman only sinned because the man didn't do what he was supposed to do. The man was expected a lot more of. And so, but, like I said, in 1 Corinthians 11:3, God, Jesus, man, woman, so God puts a lot on men. And that's the way it should be. Right. The head of the body, to lead and pastor his family, to lead and to guide as God leads him. And so, whenever men don't realize the expectations of God on them, they fall. They not only fall, they completely discount and abuse the fact that they're a man, and don't truly try to grasp the degree that God needs them to do. A lot of men do want to control, not lead. And that's I hate to say it, but that's also a part of what the church did at one time. They taught the wrong message. They honestly did for a long while. The wrong message was taught to a lot of men. Ephesians 5:21 says, submit to each other. Before Paul ever goes into men, love your wife as Christ loves the church, women, submit to your husbands, the first thing he says before he goes into that, he says, submit to each other. The message that God had given him to pass on to others was submit to each other. Willingly cooperate with each other. Peter even says that in his first epistle is, live with your wife in an understanding way. And so it's a big deal. I believe men's ministry is a huge deal, actually. And along with men's ministry, hopefully they'll begin to understand the better aspect that God needs them to understand as far as a man in the role of a husband, even if it has to be a husband who is standing with God in hopes of a marriage restoration. Because now that husband has even bigger things put on him to say, you have to be such the image of Christ that you're willing to wait for a bride that has turned away. The same as Jesus has done with the church. A lot of churches have turned away. That's kind of what the part of the church of Ephesus in Revelation talks about. But then Jesus is still waiting for that bride to come back, and to come back to Him in the way that the church is supposed to. But anyway, I've been on here for a little bit. But again, thank you all, and thank you for giving me this time. Just kind of discuss these things and to test this out, to make sure that this is going to work. I do want to remind everybody that's watching, this Friday, I'm going to go ahead and have the call line this Friday with Lisa Louise as a guest speaker. She has been a great encouragement. I've seen it a lot. She's a part of a part of the Marriages Restored God's Way group also. In fact, I believe she's an admin in there, if that's correct. And so she's really a great encourager. She has been through a lot herself, and I know she really does have a heart to help people. And that's why I felt led to ask her to be a guest. And I am looking. I'm actually doing this tonight, testing this out tonight, because I know some of you might know her, Lee Martin. She actually has two groups, one for men and one for women. They're Forever Covenant marriage groups. And so she also has another group that she's going through the book by Michael Youssef right now. But she has changed that to Thursday evenings. And so and I know that that's one of the best teachers. If you want to know some people to listen to, Michael Youssef is one of the really great ones to listen to. Michael Youssef, Alistair Begg, David Jeremiah, John MacArthur is really good. He's a little bit different to listen to, but he's really good to listen to. Rick Warren can be good a lot of times to listen to. I was trying to think of some of the other ones that I really listen to. Adrian Rogers, he's no longer on the earth. He's passed into his heavenly home, but you can still find a lot of his stuff on YouTube and on radios. And that Love Worth Finding is the ministry where he was working out of. But you know, those are just some of the ones that I really encourage. I do like a lot of Priscilla Schreier stuff. I'm not familiar with Derek Prince. That's somebody I'd have to look into. There are names I can tell you not to listen to because of how I know that they teach and how they do a lot of their stuff. And I won't endorse them. I won't even allow the stuff into the group simply because of how I know that they teach. I will look into Derek Prince though too. I'm not familiar with him. I've heard of Dan Mohler, but I'm still not exactly familiar with him. Kyle Idleman, thank you, honey. Kyle Idleman is one of the great ones also. Max Lucado. I will definitely look into him. I'll have to also look into Dan Mohler. I'm not really familiar with him either. Definitely Kyle Idleman. In fact, I'm actually looking at trying to do a study over the Kyle Idleman AHA series. And it'll be a 6-week video session with a group study to go over together. I'm trying to get that all situated to where I can do the video, show the video, and I'm also looking at creating a separate group. Francis Chan is a good one also, he can be. Ravi Zacharias, of course, but he's more of just an apologist than so much of as a necessarily a teacher. So I'll definitely have to look into Derek Prince though. And we have to remember some of those guys have came around to some truth, and so I always like to try to look at people and to kind of see where they're at, because I don't want to ever judge somebody off of just something or just one thing or whatever. I'd like to try to look at where they're at, exactly how they do things. But I was trying to think of a couple other ones, but mine's kind of came blank right now. Anyway, the study I was talking about is called AHA. It's specifically over um, the prodigal, and so the different videos show different scenarios of prodigals, of their different things that they've gotten into, and so I'm very encouraged to go ahead and go over that series and create an entirely different group just for that, and either make it closed or make it private. That way, it's just not an easily found group that where hopefully people who get started with it can continue the entire 6 weeks. And there's some other ones. The Gods at War is another really good series to go through. Not a Fan is another great series to go through. And then the Song. I'm really encouraged to go through the Song with people also. Actually, AHA is one of the best ones that you can really go through. Charles Stanley is a very good one, and Tony Evans. Thank you. I appreciate you mentioning them too. I knew I was missing two names I really listen to, or that I look at quite a bit. And Charles Swindoll is another good one. But the Song, my wife and I actually got to teach that at our church. It went really well, and it was fun to teach and to go through. It deals with part of Song of Solomon and part of Ecclesiastes. And so it just kind of deals with both of those books by Solomon. And in fact, everything in the study, and I would love to be able to have it to where people could actually watch the movie, because there's actually a movie for it called The Song. You can look for it. It's a great movie, and it really deals with broken marriage and prodigal, and even to a degree it applies to even standing and what it means to have to try to get through that. Yes, the movie with it was so good. But then the study series that we have also, we have all the study series for it, all the videos and the different book and everything. And so I'm kind of looking at being able to go through, like I said, AHA, the Song, Gods at War, because Gods at War really deals with our world today and where we struggle as people trying to live in this world, especially as Christians when we see all this other stuff going on. It deals with pornography. It deals with a lot of different stuff. So, and Not a Fan really deals with your true dedication to God. So, those are just some of the ones I'm really looking forward to and to trying to get to go through. And I know there's some other ones, a few other ones I'm going to try to check into about how to maybe get a hold of the videos or something, or just at least get a hold of the material. So. Anyway, let me go ahead and close in prayer, and I'm going to get off here. And I appreciate everybody who has came on. Like I said, some of those ones that came on late, I haven't mentioned anybody's name because I'm also doing this simultaneously to hopefully get posted to the YouTube channel, The Prodigal's Perspective. So if you haven't heard me say anybody's name, I kind of did at the very beginning, but I've tried to not say any more names, just because I don't want those names being heard on the video that's on YouTube. So to try to keep that Chip Ingram is a really good one. In fact, he has some really great marriage series. If anybody ever wants to check it out, it's called Right Now Media. You can find a lot of Chip Ingram stuff through Right Now Media. It is a very great resource. So you can find a lot of kind of item and stuff on there too. I do want to warn people though, Andy Stanley has been really good in the past, but he has unfortunately, in the last year and a half, chosen to be getting away from the Bible. Yes, thank you for that. But Andy Stanley has chosen not to so much use the Bible, and doesn't want to always have the Bible as a part of everything. He believes that most things can be taught without using the Bible, as long as you can just kind of remember some of the scripture. And so he's really kind of started drawing himself away from a lot of the truth that he used to teach. And my wife just reminded me, I'm going to go ahead and say this. She has it in the comments, but I want to go ahead and remind everybody, please do not share the Facebook Live videos. That's why I'm trying to set up the YouTube video system, and hopefully it'll go live also and be able to be downloaded onto the YouTube channel fairly quickly. But and so please don't share the Facebook Live videos, simply because of the names and the comments and the people that it would show has been watching the video. We want to keep that security, that confidentiality, secure and safe, and not have the availability just to the general public. Because unfortunately, the Facebook Live videos are more attached to the person than they are the group, unfortunately. And so they make them shareable, but then all those comments and all those people are available to be looked at also. And so we don't want to have that. But and so don't forget Friday night too at 7 p.m. Central Time, the call line. I will put the numbers and everything up there later. And I went ahead and posted about it this evening, and I'll put a new post out later in the week. Just kind of reminding everybody, I did create an event for it in the group, so hopefully a lot of people will join with that also. And I'm also looking at go ahead and doing some of these live videos at least once a week. I have a guest this week. I also have a guest next week. And so for the call line, and so after that, I'm hoping to be able to start doing some of these, giving a message, and possibly even guests to join me on the video part, since you can add people onto video with you. And yes, I'll make sure to record the call line. I will make sure that happens. But anyway, that's, again, just thank you everybody for being here and letting me to ramble and letting me talk about stuff here. And try to test this out, and hopefully everything will work the right way. So let me close in prayer real quick. Lord Father, just thank you for this night. And thank you for this opportunity, this time to come together with this group of people in this group. And just to have this time to present some things and just to openly discuss some stuff. Get to read some of the things that others want to say, and we just thank you. We just thank you for this resource. We thank you for these opportunities. And we just thank you for everything that you're doing. Father, I just lift each person up here that's watching this now and who will watch it later, that you would just bless them the rest of this evening, bless every day forward for them. May you be their strength. May you be their focus. May you be their patience. May you be their direction. May you be their words when they need it the most. I just thank you, Lord, for what you've done, the opportunities you give us. Father, again, we just praise you for all that you've done, all that you're doing, all that you're going to do, and ask for your blessings. It's in the name of Jesus that we pray this prayer. Amen. Well, thank you all, and I'm signing off now.